Okay, unboxing the brand new 24-volt Flex Rotary Polisher. So I always hate when I do these unboxing videos because I'm not sure really how to start with the box. Okay. Let's see what we got here. Oh, there we go. Look at that, nice display. So the first thing that comes in this box is a nice Flex 24-volt tool bag. Zippered handles. Looks like it's big enough to hold the tool and some of the batteries also. So that's a nice little addition. A plethora of owner's manuals, stickers, a wrench, and a service guide. Cardboard, don't need that. Oh, this is interesting. The rotary, here's the rotary polisher. And because they know people like to use these polishers in different ways, they include two backing plates, which is a really nice feature. They got it looks like a 6-inch, and it looks like this one here, it looks like I'd probably call it a 5-inch rotary. Might be a 4-inch, I'd have to get a measure out. So anyway, you got two different backing plates, and of course 5/8 coarse thread, standard for all rotary polishers. Okay, then besides the tool, also just so I wanted to point this out, the part number for this is the FX3311. Okay, so I always like when tool companies give their tools a nickname. I don't have one ready to go for this particular tool, but I'm sure most people just call it the Flex Rotary. Okay, the next thing we find in here is the fast 160-watt charger. So this is a complete kit. It comes with everything you need to get started using a rotary polisher. Then back over here in the corner, it looks like it comes with two batteries. I believe these are the 5 amp. Let me pull them out of here and check it out. So this is the 5 amp, and these are the conventional lithium batteries is what this thing comes from, but you can put the stack batteries into here. So there's one battery and a second battery. And the theory being is, as soon as you run one of the batteries down, immediately get it onto the charger, switch over to the fully charged battery, continue polishing, and by the time you wear out the other battery, the battery that you drew down the first time will be already charged up and ready to go again. So two batteries, a charger, the Flex Rotary Polisher tool, and two different backing plates. Now, I'm going to jump over here and show you, just so you can see this tool in action as I cut the paint on this 72 Pontiac Grand Prix. But for this, even though it comes with a 5 amp, I'm really excited to try this 10 amp stacked lithium. I spoke with Chris Metcalf and John Carnival at Flex, and they said even though there is a 12 amp that's conventional, the 10 amp with stacked lithium technology actually provides more power and a longer runtime. So I'm just going to start out using this. And you know, when it comes to battery powered tools, the first question everybody asks is, how long does the battery last? Okay, if you're that person, then when you buy one of these tools and you've got the two 5 amp conventional lithium batteries, just go ahead and break down and get the big boy here. Just get this one. I think you're going to be a lot happier. This is brand new out of the box. I do have a prototype I've been testing all these things on for a few weeks, and I don't find the weight cumbersome. What I like is the extended power. Okay, well, let me set up and I'll take this over there and we'll start buffing, and you can see what this tool looks like in action. Okay, it's go time. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and attach the wool pad I'm going to use here. This is actually a brand new pad from Lake Country, and this is their heavy cutting marine wool pad. And I'm using this pad because this paint is in horrible condition. I've already taken the liberty to machine dry sand with 2000 and 2500 this half of the hood, and now I'm just going to start pulling out my sanding marks and removing the horrendous holograms, swirls, and scratches that came in this car. A client of mine recently just purchased this because it was a car he had in high school. Okay, so first thing I always like to do is like to check and make sure my pad's very concentric, very centered. That just makes for a smooth buffing experience. And I did go ahead and I just installed, this is the 10 amp stacked lithium battery, fully charged. And it slides into the housing there, makes a very positive clicking sound. As you get that battery in, you know you're good to go and it's not going to fall out and hit the car. Next thing I like to do is get a spur, it's old school spur. And even though this pad is clean, I just make sure my pads are clean before I start buffing on paint. So just I'm gonna run the spur over this just to ensure it's clean. Okay, so next thing I'm gonna do is I'm using a Dr. Beasley's NSP primer, which is like a conventional compound, except that there's nothing organic in it. And so after using any of our primers, you can go straight to the coating. You don't gotta do that chemical stripping or using that panel wipe to get the oils off, because everything in here is compatible with the coating. Okay, so here we go. Let's set my speed. I'm just gonna bring it down to speed 3, which according to this indicator is about 1050 RPM, just under 1100. I pick up my strip of product, lay this down flat, spread my product out, and I'm just gonna start doing some slow overlapping passes. Okay, a couple things about the tool instantly. Whenever you're using a cordless tool like this, it's gonna be a lot more ergonomically correct and comfortable to put one hand on the head of the tool on this nice rubber overmold, and then instead of holding the handle, use the lock button, set your speed, lock it in place. You have one hand up here, then bring this other hand back here and support that heavy battery. And not only does this balance out the tool, making it easier for you to operate for hours, but it also gives you a lot of leverage over the tool. By putting your hands at the extreme ends of the tool, you have more leverage or more control over the tool. The tool itself is very quiet, okay? And that's kind of nice on your ears. A lot of times when I'm doing a car like this, I will wear hearing protection because it'll be an extended buffing time. But it is nice that it's quiet, so I could probably turn my stereo on and hear the music over it through my earplugs. Besides that, you know, just the fit and the finish, the power button locks in positive, releases when you pull the trigger. I like the ambidextrous speed dial, so I can adjust it with either hand no matter how I'm holding it, whether it's this way or this way. I do like that they got a little chart here that tells you the RPMs for the different speed settings, so you kind of know where you're at. For me, when I'm buffing out car paint, after I pick up my product and spread it out, I'm usually on the 3 setting, so right around 1,000, 1,100 RPM. For gel coat boats, something like this tool, I would bump this all the way up to the 6, which is 1,800 RPM. So you got a nice range. You got a low of 550 all the way to 1,800. And anyway, so there's just and here you can see this is a single stage paint job. So you see the red paint coming off. It looks orange on the pad, but it's actually a kind of a red color. And a zillion % better there. So anyway, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and keep buffing this out, because the next tool I'm gonna show is gonna be the Sea Beast. And this will just give us a good idea as to how long the battery will last. And because I forgot to bring my clock and put it down here, I'm gonna stop this video and go get it so we can all see how long this lasts. Okay, so I've just placed my wall clock up here. That second hand is coming around. I put this at midnight straight up, and we will start polishing as soon as that thing hits midnight, which is like 8 seconds from now. Go time. Wow, that pad, it goes cut fast. So one of the things I teach in all my car detailing classes is, besides teaching how to use rotary, I also teach guys to clean your pad often, okay? When you don't clean your pad often, what happens when you're cutting like this is you've got paint building up on the face of the pad, you have spent product building up on the face of the pad, and if you don't, a lot of times you'll take and you'll wipe the residue off the paint. Okay, so just like I wipe the residue off there, I need to wipe the residue off here, only for that I use a spur. And what happens is that way, every time you lay down fresh product, you don't pollute it and dilute it, and the resulting residue is going to wipe off easier. So there's all kinds of benefits to clean your pad often. There's no good reason to not clean it often. Whoops. Knock it back down to the 3 here. It's a big car. I actually got to reach out here to hit the center of the hood. One thing I like about old single stage paint is it usually cuts and polishes really good. And that's what I'm seeing here. I'm just gonna guess this is an older restoration. We're talking probably 20 years plus. So this is probably just an old school solvent evaporation single stage enamel paint job. One of the things I like about the Eagle abrasives by Kovacs sanding discs is I'm using the, I sanded this down with a 2000 and followed it with 2500. And I kind of stuck with those higher grits because I just have no idea about the quality of this paint job. I did some paint thickness readings on it using a high quality Defelsco paint thickness gauge. And it's running anywhere from the 6 mils to the 12 mils. So it's kind of all over the place. And of course, my goal is to buff it out and not hit primer. Okay, so one of the techniques I also teach is a technique I call finger painting. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna put some product down there and I'm gonna take my finger and right along, I taped off the fresh air grill intake here so I don't get splatter dust down there. But right across here, I got some fine sanding marks. So I'm just gonna take and finger paint some product down there to work with around all these edges and then come in and do a little surgical buffing. I like to bring this up to the highest speed setting when I'm cleaning it with the spur. Okay. That was on 6, back down to 3. And one of the reasons these rotary polishers and actually all the flex tools were so quiet is instead of using stamped steel gear sets, they use precision machined stainless steel gears. So they'll never rust. They mesh together more accurately, and that's what makes them quieter. And you never wear a set out. Okay, we are at just about 30 seconds away from the 10-minute mark. There's a little button here you can press to check out how many bars you got left. I've used 1 bar. I still have 3 bars of power left to go. And I think most of you'd agree, this is a pretty good sized car. It's a pretty good sized hood. So I just tackled heavy cutting. I'm pushing hard using a wool pad. And I just knocked out half the hood on this Pontiac in under 10 minutes. No battery dying on me at all. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and clean this up and then I'll come back and we will go over this using the new Flex 24-volt C-Beast. By the way, if you're going to SEMA this year, I will be working in the Flex booth. Happy to let you play with any of these tools, answer any questions. Of course, I'll also have some Dr. Beasley's NSP primers you can play with and a new product that we're launching. So if you're going to SEMA, stop by the Flex booth. I hope to see you there. So let's take a look at the after results. So I compounded the entire driver's side of the hood using a wool pad on the new Flex 24-volt Rotary with the NSP primers. And let me just show you how the difference looks. So here's just using overhead lights. And you can see this thing's in really bad shape. Okay, but let me go ahead, whoops, and throw a strobe finder light on here. Okay, so this is how the car arrived. These are holograms. So someone in the past has buffed this improperly with the wool pad on rotary and then stopped. There's nothing wrong with the rotary and a wool pad, just don't stop there. And then here's the side I polished. Now, there's still gonna be some holograms in here because I used a fiber pad. This is a fiber pad. Every one of these fibers cuts the paint, okay? Puts a cut in the paint. But what you get is you get faster and more complete defect removal. Then you come back and pull your holograms out with a foam pad on some type of orbital polisher. When I'm all done with this, I will take this outside and do a final video showing the before and after results after using all of the new Flex 24-volt tools. So make sure you look out for that video.